Hi, welcome back to my channel, and today I have a story that I remember quite well, and one that taught me a couple of very valuable lessons in my life that I feel like I have used over and over. Maybe sometimes not enough. But I want to share a story from my childhood that it really stuck with me. It's a classic tale of youthful impulsiveness, a moment of bad judgment, and the lesson that will never be forgotten about the power of our actions. So back when I was a kid, my family and I would drive about 20 miles to the Eastland branch of the Mormon Church. It was a small branch, and my cousins and friends also attended there, so I always enjoyed spending time with them and spending time at church for the social aspect, if for nothing else. After church, we'd often head to someone's house to play during those long summer afternoons. We'd run through the timber. We'd ride bikes, build forts, all the kinds of classic kids stuff. On one particular memorable afternoon, I had my younger cousin LD and a friend we'll call Joe come over to my place in Colorado, right along the highway, and spend the afternoon with us. Now, Joe was known for being a bit wild and impulsive, and he was the kind of kid that would always take a dare. We had on our farm a small orchard near the highway that my dad would always plow every year to keep the weeds down. And if you can imagine a plowed field in the dry land country, it would fill with large dirt clods that would become as hard as rock as they dried through the season. They were perfect for harmless dirt clod fights where you would throw them at your friends, and they would usually hit and fall off harmlessly, usually leaving a bit of a trace of dust or a little dirt. Once in a while, I'm sure they would raise a welt or leave a small bruise, but nothing that was like a rock or anything harder. And so we were out near the highway, throwing these clods around in this field. And then someone got the bright idea, hey, what if we threw one of these dirt clods at the cars passing by on the highway? In our minds, the clods would act very much the same as they did when they hit us. They would hit us, break apart, and none the wiser, a little dust and no harm done. And we figured that they would pulverize on the windshields of these vehicles. After all, they were vehicles. They were much tougher than us. But we were quite wrong. Joe found a clod that was the size of about a softball. And as he waited behind the sagebrush on the side of the road, a red Toyota was coming up the hill, hauling the mail, 65 miles an hour or so. He wound up with that dirt clod and he threw it, a beautiful arch from his hand, as the car came forward and the dirt clod descended and it hit the windshield. As one might expect that would be thinking, the windshield shattered into a spider web of glass. It immediately broke the windshield. It didn't go through, but it immediately broke the windshield. And as we looked on in disbelief and amazement, we began to understand the consequences of our actions. They were not good. Just about then, the brake lights lit up on the little Toyota, and it pulled to the side of the road to do a quick U-turn. LD and I jumped on our bikes, and we hightailed it back to the house, adrenaline pumping. Joe being Joe, he took refuge in the cherry tree, hoping to become invisible. He was not invisible. The Toyota drove straight to our house. It didn't stop to talk to Joe. I don't know if it saw him or not. But the driver was surprisingly calm and considering the situation, and asked for my parents. He explained what had happened, and my dad had Joe call his parents right then and there. They worked out a payment for the replacement windshield, and the Toyota stayed, I think, the night in a nearby town and got things replaced. That moment, watching that Clod arch through the air, seeing the glass shatter, I remember thinking, this was a very bad idea. And you know what? That feeling, that moment of realization has stayed with me ever since. This story is, as simple as it is, reminds us of something crucial about life. That you cannot call actions back. Once something is done, once the dirt clod is thrown, it's done. That clod, once it left Joe's hand, had a trajectory, and there was in no way, as badly as we would like, as badly as we would hope, to call it back, to stop it, to stop the chain of events. It was at that point out of our control, too late. Just like our words and choices and our impulsive decisions. Once we start those, it can be too late once we have let go of those and that trajectory is set. We often think about the immediate fun or the immediate consequences, but rarely do we fully grasp the ripple effect. A seemingly harmless prank can turn into property damage. A careless word can cause lasting hurt. An impulsive decision can have long-lasting repercussions we never anticipated. It's a powerful lesson in mindfulness, isn't it? To take that extra second to think about the potential outcomes before we act, before we speak. Because once that clod leaves our hand, metaphorically speaking, you can't get it back. The impact has been made. So next time you're about to do or say something, just take a moment, a second, and ask yourself, can I call this back if this goes wrong? If the answer is no, then maybe, just maybe, it's worth a second thought. If you enjoyed this story, I hope you'll leave a comment below. I know sometimes we have these situations that happen, and I hope that you will have a wonderful, beautiful day, and I appreciate you so much for watching and sharing my memories. Thank you, and goodbye.